everybody, and welcome to All About Health and Wellness. We're sponsored by All American Wellness. I'm Dr. Kevin Usry. Thank you for joining me. If you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple, if you're on YouTube, thanks for listening. We're here every week talking about all sorts of different conditions that can affect your health and wellness, and we're here for you. At any time that you need us, give us a call at All American Wellness, 561-863-8779. Take advantage of that free 15-minute health evaluation. If you're having a problem, we'll be able to tell you whether it's a functional issue or whether you need to see a medical doctor, and we'll even tell you what particular medical doctor you'll want to see with that condition that appears, unfortunately, not to be functional, but disease and pathology. So, give us a call, spend 15 minutes with us, and be proactive in keeping yourself healthy. You know, we're living longer and longer in this country, and we want to make sure we're working at peak efficiency and being healthy and vital so that as we go into our older years, we're still vital and energetic and enjoying our life. And it starts with developing good habits right away. Speaking of good habits, here's a habit I'd like you to think about forming, and that is coming regularly to our office. In the background, you may see some different things that look like little pieces of puzzle. And the reason we have that, it's putting the pieces of the puzzle together to have good health. That means making sure you're not dealing with the things at the very top of that triad, allergies and sensitivities. Allergies and sensitivities, we always think about a runny nose, watery eyes, itchiness. Yeah, those are some obvious signs of allergy. But whether you know it or not, one of the signs of allergy can be migraine headaches. Yes, migraine headaches that you don't have to take medicines for and deal with the side effects of these medications. You can simply target where you're having allergies and eliminate them from your diet and eliminate the migraines. I know it becomes a thing of hope for you when you listen to these hundreds and hundreds of commercials that are on TV all the time about taking this latest medication and that latest medication. Here's a little secret. If that medication hasn't been out for 5 years or longer, you're a guinea pig. They're not quite sure all of the side effects or all of the untold effects that that particular medication may have. And frankly, if you're taking it and it hasn't been on the market 5 years, they haven't had to go through the justification and studies that show this to be a safe medication. You're an experiment. Don't be an experiment. Number one, pay attention to what they talk about on the commercial where they tell you possible side effects include. And when you're paying attention, if you're a thinking person, all of a sudden you start saying, gee, the side effects are worse than the condition and migraines are terrible. Yeah, so are some of the side effects. So that's something you can do to get rid of migraines, get them out of your life. You parents who have children who have ADD and ADHD, since there's no definitive diagnosis, it's very much based on observation. One of the things that you can do is target where those children may be having allergies and sensitivities to certain foods that are triggering chemicals to affect their brain, specifically their neurotransmitters. And now you got a kid that can't sit still in school, is plagued by emotional issues, either depression or hyperactivity, and have emotional meltdowns. These things don't necessarily require medication. So have their diet evaluated, have their gut evaluated, so we can determine if that young person is having a problem with allergies and sensitivities. All right, enough said about that. Let's go to the other area. Can we catch the background just a second? Okay, and if you go either to the right or to the left as you're sliding down the mountain of the triangle, you come to nutrition. Well, what is it about nutrition? There are a lot of holes in our nutrition, in our diet. The typical American diet is really not good, and it's depleted in many of the necessary vitamins and minerals that people need, and filled with a lot of chemicals that you don't. And when you're subjecting your body to a lot of these chemicals, you have no idea what those chemicals are doing in the long run to your body. But if you're dealing with any kind of affliction that you've been dealing with to a large degree, the first thing you want to look at is the diet. What is the diet like? What is it that's affecting my body that I take in daily? That many times can be an issue with your diet. A lot of people come to me and say, Dr. Usry, should I take a multivitamin and mineral? Absolutely. Absolutely. If your diet is a typical American diet, then frankly, it probably lacks a lot of the necessary chemicals that you need in your body. Those necessary chemicals, which are known as essential chemicals, are called vitamins and minerals. So you should be on a good form of vitamin and mineral. If you think it's a one a day, it's not. Okay? Typically, you need 2 to 3 of these tablets a day. You take them with each of your meals. You'll assure yourself of getting adequate amount of vitamins and minerals on a daily basis, which will help you maintain your health and your nutrition. If you have a toxic lifestyle, if you're a smoker, if you're a drug user, if you're involved in all sorts of issues that take you into bad environmental exposures, then you'll probably need more than just simply maintenance dosages of a good multivitamin and mineral, but that's a good start. Next, let's talk about some of the things that can happen when you don't have enough magnesium, you don't have enough B6, pyridoxine, in your diet, or enough B12 and folate. Well, you can develop the curse of homocystinemia. What is that? I've never heard of that. Well, that's too bad, because it's a secret that plagues Americans in this country and ultimately leads to the diagnosis of cancer, Alzheimer's, or heart disease. And it's simple. It's simple to take adequate amount of magnesium, B6, and vitamin B12 and folate. And these are great ways to be proactive about your health by taking that multivitamin and mineral. A good quality multivitamin and mineral. I'm going to throw a few names at you. Anything from NutriWest, you can go right on Amazon and get them. Anything from Biotics, anything from Standard Process. All of these nutrition companies have been around for years and years and years. They are pharmaceutical grade nutrition. What does that mean? These companies are scrutinized by the FDA as to where they obtain their raw materials. And let's face it, basically the FDA is not very pro-nutrition. They're really pro-pharmaceutical. So they scrutinize these pharmaceutical grade companies that make these products. What are your raw materials like? They go over them with a fine-tooth comb, looking for any possible toxin, anything that isn't exactly what they say is in the pill, and they're always looking to stop them from manufacturing. Speaking of which, they look at their manufacturing process. Is it safe? Is it therapeutic? And again, if there's any issue with that, the FDA picks up on that right away. Next, they look at the finished product. Is exactly what's in the pill say that's exactly what's in the pill on the label? If you go to your typical health food store and you get vitamins or minerals that are not pharmaceutical grade, then you get products that fall under the GRAS law. GRASS. Generally regarded as safe is what the GRAS law is all about. So that means what's in the bottle is not necessarily, or what they say is in the bottle is not necessarily what's in the bottle. It's just generally regarded as safe, but not necessarily therapeutic. So, pharmaceutical grade nutrition is what you need. Make sure you're taking your magnesium. Make sure you're taking activated forms of B6 and B12. It's called methylcobalamin. Look for an M when you're looking at the B12 and it tells you what specifically, what kind of B12 it is. You want methylcobalamin. It's an activated form. 30% of the population does not absorb B12 from their diet. And the dietary form of B12 is called cyanocobalamin. And 30% of the population does not have, as a result of genetic mutation, the enzymes to absorb B12. So you want to make sure you're getting an activated form, which is called methylcobalamin. The same thing exists for B6. B6 pyridoxine is also an issue for people who don't have the enzyme to break it down and absorb it. So you're looking for what they call, it'll be in initials P5P, pyridoxal 5-phosphate. And this is what you want to get. These are activated forms of the vitamin. Now you're assured of getting high quality nutrition into your diet. All right, so we'll talk about other things in nutrition as we have further shows. In the meantime, let's take another shot in the back here. And since we're sliding all the way down the mountain, let's look at electrical pollution. What is electrical pollution? Well, number one, your cell phone. Number one, your watch. Number one, your iPad or a pad, a computer pad. Any of these electronic devices, which have great advantages for us to be in communication, to be safe, to be informed. Also, the electron can, in some cases, cause harmful effects. Years ago, when I was growing up, we were always told, don't sit too close to the television. Don't sit too close to the television. And everyone gradually started to look at that as an urban myth. But years ago, when they were first making televisions, they weren't sure of the electromagnetic effect of the rays that produced and brought TV into your home. Now they have upgraded technology and they have recognized it's reasonably safe for the person, but most of us don't sit right next to the television. They're bigger now, they're higher quality, so we have a tendency to sit further back. The same thing for cell phones. Cell phones are extremely powerful. Let me try and put it in a ways you can understand. Think about those captions you've seen about the NASA engineers when they were at Cape Kennedy or Cape Canaveral, and those rooms that were filled with computers that went from the floor to the ceiling, and there were rows of them lining the wall. Those were the computers they needed to make sure that the astronauts were safe to get into space and return home. The power from those computers and the ability from those computers are found in your cell phone. That's how technology has advanced. Extremely powerful. And they can, for some people, have detrimental effects. But there are devices that you can buy over the internet or you can purchase elsewhere to suppress the electrical pollution. There's a lot of theories that exist out there under the terms of kids in crisis, and everyone wants to blame social media. And I'm not here to villainize social media or defend it. It very well may have a detrimental effect on children, and parents, you do need to keep a greater eye on your children and their use of the cell phone. But if we just look at it as a device that creates electrical magnetic rays that in some cases may affect a growing body's cellular function. And when I talk about cellular function, we're talking about emotions, we're talking about brain health, we're talking about balance in your neurotransmitters, the chemicals that help you have a child that is experiencing well-being every day, is healthy, doesn't go through highs and lows emotionally, does well in school, is generally a good and easy kid to raise and a pleasure to be with, as opposed to someone whose neurotransmitters have been affected by any number of things. And this is where you have the child that has ADD or ADHD or is labeled with that, or labeled as a troubled kid that no one wants to be around. That could be simple things like electrical pollution, and there's a way to screen for that. And that is absolutely one of the things we do at All American Wellness. Let's take another screenshot here and take a look at the very bottom structure. Well, even though I'm an applied kinesiologist, which is a specialty in this country in chiropractic, I am a chiropractor. And my main thrust, pardon the expression, in dealing with people's health is making sure that biomechanically their spine, their extremities, arms and legs are all moving normally. Their muscles are functioning normally. Their joints are functioning normally. Their nervous system is functioning normally because those precious 33 bones that stack one on top of the other and protect our spinal cord are moving the way they should so they don't create nerve irritation. Incidentally, maybe you've heard of sensory nerves. Those are the ones that bring messages of pain or pleasure to your brain. Then you have motor nerves. Those are the way your brain can send messages to your muscles so that you can move and function properly. Then there's the autonomic nervous system. And if you've ever been in a tense situation where you're nervous, a policeman has pulled you over, for instance, and your heart's racing and your mouth's dry and your hands are moist, that's your autonomic nervous system. That is the system that runs and maintains your organ performance. So that's why having a well-functioning spine is critical for your optimal health. You can have optimal health and enjoy optimal function when you see your chiropractor regularly. That could be as often as once a week. That could be as often as once a month. But I'm going to go back to the dentist. Think about what happens if you don't brush your teeth daily, floss your teeth daily, go see the dentist every 6 months. There's a good chance you're going to go see the dentist with pain in your mouth from a cavity. And this is how a lot of people end up in my office. They have pain in their spine because they don't maintain their spinal hygiene. And it's critical. You chew with your mouth. The teeth in your mouth are what you use to chew and smile with. But your spinal cord is the connection between your brain and the rest of the body. It's critical. And for those of you who haven't learned that it's the brain that runs the body, hey, there's a little safety tip. Always maintain your brain health by seeing the chiropractor. Anyway, let's move on from structure and go on to toxins. Toxins are everywhere in our environment. And all we have to do is read the newspaper or go on Facebook or listen to the news. You see so many areas of the world that have become affected by toxins. Here's one, glyphosate. Any of you who have used that particular company's product to kill the weeds in your lawn, understand that farms all over the world, the industrial farms, are using that herbicide on all of our foods. Even the organic foods have residuals of glyphosate, and glyphosate kills the precious biome in your gut. The biome, meaning all of the biological organisms that are needed for proper function in your small and large intestines, are killed off by glyphosate. And this leads to many conditions like dysbiosis, abnormal microbial growth that is not helpful but is harmful and affects your body and your brain function. So it's critical. There are things a person needs to be doing every day to protect themselves from toxins that nobody is doing enough communication with the public about. So it's very important. At All American Wellness, we address that. We get patients on blockers to stop their body from absorbing these glyphosates. We get them on detoxifiers that help pull that from the body, pull that from the liver, so toxic effects do not occur. There has been research that shows that glyphosate in very, very tiny, minute amounts can increase a woman's chances of developing breast cancer by huge percentages. And if you've ever wondered why so many women now seem to be developing breast cancer, look at glyphosate for being at least one of the conditions that may be creating that. So to be proactive, you want to make sure that you're doing something with the idea that you're being exposed to glyphosate. What can I do to minimize my exposure? Those are some of the things we address. Let's look at emotions. Well, emotions can be tied into all of those other areas I just discussed with you. When our neurotransmitters, when the chemicals in our brain are not balanced, we develop all sorts of issues. We develop depression. We can develop anxiety. We can develop conditions like ADD, ADHD. We can develop conditions that the American Psychiatric Association can label, and there are hundreds of things they label. As far as physiology is concerned, it's really dysfunction in the brain, dysfunction in the neurotransmitters, dysfunction with how the mesencephalon functions. And when you're talking about an important part of the brain, for a moment, think of your brain as a series of streets and avenues that have all sorts of intersections where vital information neurologically travels through these intersections. The busiest intersection in the brain is the mesencephalon. Now, these are the things we address at All American Wellness. If you think you have a functional problem, if you think you have a health problem, give us a call. We're at allamericanwellness.com. Make an appointment. It's free. It's 15 minutes. We'll inform you with a lot of issues that you can address and give you tips on things that you maybe didn't think about. So that's it for me today. I appreciate you joining me. Again, I'm Dr. Usry from All American Wellness. This is all about health and wellness, and we're brought to you by Podcast Junkies. That's podcastjunkies.com. Junkies is spelled Junkeez. And that's how pleasurable it is to work with Ben Castro and Christian Perillo. It's easy. So give them a call if you want to get your message across to the masses. Anyway, check us out on Spotify, on YouTube, and on Apple. We're there once a week. You can give me a call anytime you like at 561-863-8779. And if you have questions and you want the doctor to call you back, I'll be more than happy to do that for you. So there we go. That's our message for this week. Thanks for joining me. I wish you good health and wellness. Bye for now.